Aloha, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Kunani Patrol. This is Mikuni Munsak, your host, and we have here our guest, Coach Jakub Bilko. He is a brown
Hello.
belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and one of my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coaches. Coach Jakub, go ahead and give the fans and followers a little bit of introduction of yourself, please.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Jacob, and as Biko said, I am a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coach slash competitor slash enthusiast. At least I used to be before, COVID ruined life for everyone. Yeah, I've been doing Jiu-Jitsu since 2012, and I've been living in the Philippines for the last 4 years. I was born in Poland. I've lived there my whole life. Then I moved here, competed quite a bit, have like a bunch of medals in my closet. So it's not that I'm just, a typical guy who does this as a hobby. This used to be my passion. Of course, it's been put on hold for now. So at the moment, I'm focusing on just getting into the best shape of my life in my garage and, just putting in the work and waiting for things to come back to normal.
Nice. So I never got to ask you, ever since we've been training together, why Philippines? Like, why
Oh
of
man,
all?
this yeah, yeah. Actually, it wasn't my idea originally because I came here with my ex-girlfriend.
Oh,
Um,
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, you did tell me about this.
yeah, 2017. I came here with my girlfriend. It was her idea. Before that, I had no idea about the Philippines. I didn't even know where the Philippines was. I didn't know like is there even internet in the Philippines? Like, do people speak English? Do people speak in the Philippines? Man, I had no idea. And she just wanted to move here because she went here on vacation and she enjoyed it. And I was like, well, I've been living in Poland for 30 years, so maybe it's a good time to change something in my life. And yeah, like I said, she's my ex-girlfriend, so
Filipino
she's
girl or a Polish girl?
no, no, she is Polish because I
She is
think she's still
Polish.
alive. I
Interesting.
guess, yeah, but she's my ex, so yeah, we kind of split along the way, and yeah, I stayed here, and she just moved away somewhere.
Did you know anyone here in the scene, in the jiu-jitsu scene, MMA scene before you moved?
Oh man, actually, I was like trying to Google stuff before I came here. I was like on Google Maps looking at if there's like gyms, and I was on Facebook looking for gyms, and it was kind of hard to find stuff at first. But then, when I came here, I did some more digging, and that's how I ended up with my first team. I used to train in Green Hills for like the first 2 years I've been here, and then things happened, and I switched teams. So but yeah, but initially it was pretty like pretty crazy because I didn't know anything about anything, and it was actually so hard to find information. I think it got better now here, but yeah, when I first came in 2017, it was like very hard to like find stuff, at least for me.
Crazy culture shock, right?
Yeah, yeah, man. The first thing I noticed was the traffic, like going from the airport to the place we were staying. I was like, what is this?
For me, it was the running water situation, like how the Tavo system. I never really
Oh
got
yeah,
used
yeah.
to that because I came from the
Oh, I
States.
remember. Yeah, man. I remember one time I went to a gym in San Carlos in it's in Negros, and I taught there, and I went to the toilet, and there was just this bowl with a flush and a bucket and a towel, and I was like, what do I do with this?
Yeah, so for those who don't know, I know people are listening. In the Philippines, they don't really do too much of the toilet paper thing. How they use the bathroom is they just have a toilet bowl and then they have a bucket next to it with a little bucket inside. You just have to scoop the water and then wash your ass with the freaking bucket with your hand. So that's the Philippine system there.
Yeah,
So the
but
whole
man,
like,
I don't do toilet paper anymore.
yeah,
Also,
neither.
I have like ass washers, and like I'm not going back. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
dude, bidets and ass washers are like next level, man. Like America needs to
Yeah,
get on that because that toilet paper stuff,
exactly.
it just doesn't do the job anymore nowadays.
Yeah. I feel like when I went to Poland, 2019, I think December, and yeah, I had to use the bathroom. I was like, I used the toilet paper. I was like, I feel filthy.
It
I'm
doesn't feel
filthy.
right. It's stuck. It's stuck. Okay, anyways, back to topic. So why, when and why Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? When and why?
Oh, yeah. Basically, I started training jiu-jitsu in 2012, and before that, I was in um, a place in my life where I wasn't really doing much, physical activity. I was actually smoking cigarettes pretty hardcore. I was drinking a
Hmm.
lot, and I was generally out of shape. And I was partying, the usual stuff when you're like in your early 20s. I guess everyone can relate to
Yeah.
that. And one day I was thinking like, damn, this has to be like more to this because I feel like I'm so disgusting, and I don't really like myself the way I am. I feel like I'm like ruining my life, and where am I going to be in 5 years? Am I going to have a heart attack already? Like I'm not even going to be 30, and I'm probably going to be like wrecked. So what I started doing is I quit smoking like cold turkey, and I started running to work because my job was around like 5 kilometers away from my house. It was pretty funny because I didn't have any like special, equipment for running, and I didn't even have a backpack. So I would just run with my laptop bag over my shoulder. I would just hold it and I would like run for 5 kilometers, and I would run to work and back to home. And I was like, it was pretty crazy, but that was like the moment I decided to change something. And then one of my friends who I used to hang out with said, hey, there's this gym not so far away, and I want to try Muay Thai. So you want to go with me? I was like, I guess, yeah, sure, why not? Let's do it. And then I started training Muay Thai a bit. So I trained for I guess less than a year. And while I was training there, of course, I saw people training jiu-jitsu, and it seemed kind of weird because it was just a bunch of guys in these weird pajamas, like just rolling on the floor. Um, and the story that kind of pushed me towards jiu-jitsu was that we had a warm up with some of the jiu-jitsu people. It was like you know because the classes were at the same time, so we had a warm up with the jiu-jitsu people. I think it was a nogi class. So the coaches decided we should play like a version of rugby where you just run with the ball and tackle each other and like do a bit of wrestling, etc., etc. And I remember, running with the ball, and this guy like tackles me down. He gets my back, and he like locks in a rear naked choke. And I was like, "What the hell is going on?" And I was like, holding on to dear life, even though it was like, just to warm up, and he wasn't like gonna like choke me out or anything. But I was like, damn, I don't know what to do because this guy is hooks in. I'm like starting to choke, and like I started panicking, and then he just let me go, and I was like, yeah. So is this what jiu-jitsu is about? And then, I bought a gi and I went to my first class, and eventually I stopped doing Muay Thai and just stuck with jiu-jitsu. So I guess I
So
was introduced in a way that kind of like the old school days, the Gracies, they would like show a rear naked choke to people. And then people would ask, okay, but how do you get out of the regular naked choke? And they say, yeah,
well, you
well, you
got to
gotta
come to
sign up for a
class.
class. Yeah, you gotta sign up for a class. You know how to escape, man. Exactly. So
Nice.
I wanted to know how to defend myself from that because that was like a whole unexplored region to me.
So when did you start becoming serious with jujitsu training? Like when you first started, were you dedicated right away, or did it take a while for you to actually make it a passion career thing?
I guess you could say I was pretty passionate from the start, but I think it took a while for it to kind of make sense in my head, because um, I got promoted to blue belt pretty quick. I got promoted to blue belt in 6 months, and then I spent over 3 years at blue belt. And when I was a blue belt, I was training like crazy, but I didn't really. And I was also competing a lot at blue belt because I thought, okay, this is that I'm training a lot, so I'm going to compete. And I would compete like every comp there was. I would just go on a train and just go around Poland and compete. But I wasn't really like getting anything out of it. I wasn't really successful. I was like getting tapped out in my first fight, or I would just lose by points, etc. So to me, it took a lot of time to actually um, for the pieces to kind of come together in my head. And I think that was also because of how I was training. We were doing a lot of drilling. So I would come to gym before class, and I would drill moves with this dude who was a higher belt, and it was all just drilling. So I think that was kind of counterproductive to my development, because I know if you want to get good at a movement, you gotta train it, right?
Yeah, that's what they say.
But yeah, from what I noticed in my case, it's actually better if I spar a lot. So actually, when I started, rolling a lot more, going to open mats and not going crazy with repeating the same move 50 times, things kind of started clicking in my head. When I was more focused on the concepts rather than raw techniques. And that's you went to my classes. That's actually what I kind of try to teach, right? Not to rely on like
Move A,
specific
move B, move
movements.
C, but more of
Yeah,
the
exactly.
concept
But like more of the
rules.
concept, how things work, what to do and what to pay attention to. And that's like I think that was like a kind of a changing moment. And in terms of being like more serious about competing and being more successful, actually I think it only clicked when I came to the Philippines, because I for some reason I was able to train more. Then maybe it's because people are lighter, so you don't have to lift heavy people
Yeah,
over your head, and you can spar a bit more
relaxed.
yeah, relaxed. And I think the general aura, it's sunny, you get the vitamin D, you can recover a bit better maybe. So actually, like, I think my jiu-jitsu exploded for the second time when I came here, because I was able to train so much and to actually spar so much.
So as far as being optimal for like tournament prep or competition, you would suggest more sparring so that people can get used to the concepts and being comfortable in the different positions rather than just drilling move A, move B, move C. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, when you're preparing for a comp, it's probably too late to change your game, right? You've been working on that probably in the off season. You've been figuring out new moves and stuff like that. So before you compete, it's time to actually sharpen your tools. You probably have a bit of weight to lose, so sparring is cardio, so that's also good for losing weight, I guess. And I think yeah, before competition, it's time for more sparring and more situational spars. So
Mm.
scenarios, right? Like you start from the feet, first points, reset. You start from bottom, side control, first points, you reset, stuff like that. Because there's like situations like that are going to happen. And sparring in competition is different than sparring in training. So you got
Oh
to
yeah.
add that element of like losing to training to actually kind of condition people for what's coming in the comp.
You gotta get people in that mindset to keep pushing the pace because sometimes people are a little bit too relaxed when they're training. And then when it comes time for competition and then the pace gets pushed, they were like, oh, I wasn't ready for that type deal.
Exactly. I've been there also. Like I've been I've competed a lot, and I've been the first time I competed ever was when I was a white belt. I think I was training for 4 months, and I remember I was competing in heavy, so I was 94 kilograms in the gi, and there was no one in my division, so I got bumped up to minus 100. And I was competing against this dude, and he was like so heavy, and he just crushed me, and I lost by points. Luckily I didn't get submitted, because that would be like a terrible blow to my ego, of course. But I wasn't used to that kind of intensity before, because this guy was going like crazy on me,
Oh,
just like
yeah.
bending me, right? And I was like, damn, this is the real thing, right? So I guess yeah, you gotta condition yourself to be ready for that.
So it's like a fine line. Like you should be chill during like flow sparring, but if it's competition prep, you need to simulate that intensity. It's absolutely necessary. I think so.
Yeah, but there's also people who can, if you watch Gordon Ryan compete, right?
He's so chill.
He's chill like 100% of the time.
Yeah.
He's not even pushing the pace, because like
No.
what he said, he inhibits the movements, right? So I guess that's, if you take him and compare him to like Gary Tonnen, who's like
Always
all the
pushing,
way,
moving,
always
transitioning,
there.
transitioning,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They're like they train in the same team, but they have completely different
different styles.
games. So
Yeah.
I guess it's good to have your own, but you have to remember that if you want to do good in competition, you gotta train for a competition, and you just gotta compete a lot.
Yeah. I think you gotta do both. You gotta have both because you gotta know how to flow, but you also gotta be ready to test your cardio if necessary.
Yeah, exactly.
Would there be like like a perfect amount of time that you would suggest like a white belt, like how long they should train before they compete type of deal? Or is it kind of just based on their comfortability, their confidence?
Well, like I said, I was training for about like 4 months
Yeah, that's pretty quick.
before I competed. But you gotta remember that white belt. You can be a white belt for 2 years. You can be a white belt for 4 months, and you're gonna compete against each other, right? So that's gonna be a huge difference. And unless you have some sort of hidden natural talent, you're not gonna beat a guy who's been training longer than you. Well, I guess also it also depends. But in white belts, if you're not familiar with the moves and you're still pretty awkward, then it's gonna be hard to beat someone who's been training longer than you, unless there's something wrong with their training and they're not really that good. So I wouldn't stick to a specific time frame for when you should compete. You just gotta be kind of comfortable with yourself. And first competition is always probably the most stressful. So, but even if you lose, then I think
Learning
it's still worth it.
experience.
Yeah, I think it's good to compete, from the start, from white belt to whatever belt you are now, and just whenever you're comfortable and you feel like you can do something, and then maybe you can get a bit of encouragement from your coach to compete. It's just worth it.
Yeah, there's nothing that can simulate like the actual experience, like especially the pre-fight jitters and
Yeah.
that the whole thing. It's something you got to get used to on its own.
Exactly.
So this whole podcast is about optimal human performance. So as a jiu-jitsu athlete, what were some things that you were doing to optimize your performance in competition?
Well, for sure, it's making sure that you recover from your training correctly. So,
Amen. Preach,
yeah,
brother.
yeah, yeah. There's so many things that go into that. Nutrition. I see a lot of guys in the Philippines, especially. They train, they want to be good, but they drink, they don't really watch their diet, they smoke. So, in my opinion, it's also about kind of setting realistic expectations. If you don't want to put in, if you don't want to put in all the pieces for your training, you can't expect to be a champion, right? So,
Ooh, nice.
yeah, right. Because there's guys who say, yeah, oh, I want to be like this. I want to win this, and this, and this, and then their diet is crap. Every weekend they get wasted, and they smoke cigarettes after they train, etc. So not really, the kind of devotion that's required to be like a high level competitor. You can still treat it as a hobby, but don't expect like champion results if you're for like amateur prep for
Wise
for
words.
whatever you're doing, right? So yeah, nutrition, of course, getting enough sleep. It's probably like the second most important thing because, well, I'm like I actually I've been working on that myself. Of course, sometimes I'm not able to get enough sleep because of I work with clients from the States, so there is a huge time difference between
Oh
us,
man.
and I have calls that sometimes finish past 12 in the night. So I have days in the week where I'm not really like feeling too good, but I still get up and do something because I know that okay, in 2 days I can sleep a bit longer, so I can maybe recover a bit better. But I just don't wanna lose it. And then just being consistent. Also, another thing that's lacking with a lot of people is they keep talking about competing and doing this and that and getting a higher belt, and then they just show up once a week and like, dude, it's all about setting your expectations to like a realistic level. Unless you're like some sort of super freak talent, like you can't really out train a bad diet, a bad recovery, and just you can't just not show up to training.
I say it's that quote, like hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm the best example because I don't feel like I'm super talented. I just had to I don't think I'm super talented at anything. I always have to work twice as hard to even keep up with people. So I feel this. I really feel this.
Amen. Yeah, same here, man. Like I didn't know anything about jiu-jitsu when I first got here to the Philippines. I was completely against it, but once I actually started liking it and wanted to learn more, I just every moment I had, I was researching, and then every time I could link up with you and Coach Jerry, I was training with you guys. So that's definitely I attribute all that consistency to a lot of the success that I have now. So I absolutely agree. Any words of wisdom for upcoming jiu-jitsu athletes or even mixed martial artists in general?
Man, I think it kind of boils down to what I said before, that you gotta want it, right? Because like, I mean, it's fine to have a hobby. It's fine to treat it as a hobby. Just like don't expect too much, right? If you really want it, then you gotta want it so bad that people are gonna think that you're crazy, right?
Crazy. Don't
Yeah,
expect championship
exactly.
results if you're not willing to put in a championship effort, something like that,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. That's the thing. If you want to be like super good at something, you gotta be obsessed. The quote, find what you love and let it kill you, man.
Amen. Amen. Any crazy stories that you had, like with jujitsu, something like worth sharing, either with jujitsu or with your travels, or just something for the listeners?
Oh man, I don't really, because I don't really know, because I think it's not like a good example, but people say that jiu-jitsu can actually save you when you're in a street fight. And I don't really like the idea of street fights, but I was in a street fight once after I started training jiu-jitsu. It was kind of funny. I mean, funny and kind of sad also. And I'm not really sure if this is a good example, but I'm just gonna say it anyway because I was younger. I was a lot younger.
Fuck it. If it's
I'm
good,
not, I'm
we'll
not
keep it.
saying
If not, we'll take it out.
yeah, man. I'm not saying I'm not saying that I'm smarter now by any means, but maybe I'm a bit more more adult about it. So basically, I think we were out and about, um, just going around some bars because why not? And I remember there was some sort of commotion going on, and there was this dude who was just like insulting another guy, and I usually try to mediate stuff like this. I'm just like trying to de-escalate stuff because it's people can get hurt. It's pretty dangerous, especially if people are drunk.
Mm.
That's not good, right? So yeah, we were starting to I was starting to talk to the guy, and he was like very very violent, and things got kind of heated, and I ended up armbarring him.
Oh,
uh, I ended up armbarring a guy on the streets of Warsaw in the middle of the night, in front of I think 30 people. And yeah, it's not something I'm proud of. It was just like it was in the moment, and I was still a blue belt back then,
mm.
right? And he started crying, so that was double sad. And later, when the whole thing just kind of cooled down, it turned out that the guy I was defending from that dude I armbarred was his brother. So basically,
Foreign
they were
bars.
having just they were having this awkward drunk kind of fight.
Uh-huh.
But I thought it was serious because the dude was saying some really like crazy stuff, and I thought he's gonna like hurt him, and it turned out that they were just brothers. And
Uh-huh.
I armbarred a dude near a nightclub in Warsaw in front of like 30 people. It's like, yeah, so that was a really crazy story, and like I would have probably felt better if he was just some random, jock who just harasses people. But yeah, they probably went back to the same house, and I just
Oh
like,
man.
okay,
Hey, well, at least you had the right intentions. You had good intentions. You were trying to
yeah, you know how it ends.
situation.
You always have good intentions, and then it turns out as usual, right?
You armbarred his bro, and they were just having like a sibling bickering thing.
Yeah, just like, yeah, I guess maybe that's a thing in their family. They just like enjoy a good put down, like really hardcore put down.
This is in Poland, right?
Yeah, I was in Poland. Yeah. So
Oh, jeez.
if you don't know, Polish people when they're like drunk, they sometimes get super weird and violent and obscene. So I think that's kind of our trait. Also, one of the reasons why I stopped drinking alcohol like altogether, like a few years ago. So basically, yeah, because I don't know if I have that side, but I don't want to find out.
Don't want to find out. Yeah, rather not.
Yeah,
It's all
I don't
good.
want to find out.
One thing I want to go into before we end this, veganism, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of
Yeah,
people who are also vegan as well who want to optimize their nutrition. So, from what I know, it's more difficult. It's not impossible, but it's definitely more difficult as far as getting the proper amount of nutrition as a vegan. So, what are some strategies? Hold on, mind that siren.
yeah,
What
that's
are some
actually a pretty good.
Yeah, some strategies that you have, um, things that you practice to get all the nutrition that you need as an athlete, as a vegan athlete.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good question. Actually, I'm working, on vlogging a bit, so I'm probably gonna also do like a video about what I eat in a day. But in the meantime, like I kind of have a system for what I eat. I also have this, a lot of people say that, being vegan is, elitist, expensive, and like, you're just a rich white guy, so you can just afford, you can afford all your vegetables in this third world country. So, I mean, I still, I buy some expensive stuff that's, well, it's only expensive because it's imported, like frozen
Mm.
berries are very
Hmm.
expensive here. Like, like stuff that you have to bring from abroad is expensive. But I have like a strategy because I pretty much stick to similar foods every day. Um, but my main goal is usually to keep up my vitamins and minerals at adequate levels. I don't really take vitamin supplements at the moment, so I use a chronometer to track that. And basically, I just want to make sure that I'm getting enough of specific vitamins and minerals per day, because I can get my protein, carbs, and my fats, very easy, because just eat a brick of tofu a day and that's like 50 grams of protein already. So it's all good. But I think it's good to stick to like a specific meal plan, and not overcomplicate things, because you can make any diet as expensive as you want, right? If you're just gonna buy, I don't know, certified organic lettuce that costs like, I don't even know how much that will cost. 500 pesos per head. I have no idea. You can basically make anything as expensive as you want. So just stick to the basics and make sure that you're getting enough of, the vitamins and minerals that you require. If you need to supplement, because, sometimes maybe you're limited by something, like you don't really eat, you don't like seaweed, so you need iodine in your diet, so you can supplement that. Or like you're short on omegas, you can also supplement that, right? I mean, I don't know if people have problem with vitamin D here. I know there's a lot of sun, but I know that 40% Americans are deficient, I think so. So I'm actually not sure about that. And also, like, I don't like cooking. I mean, I like cooking, but I don't like spending too much time in the kitchen. So usually I just do like a bowl of stuff. I just air fry my tofu for protein, some rice, something green like frozen broccoli, some Chinese cabbage, some beans, some nutritional yeast, some flax seeds on top, and some seaweed, and I'm good. It's like, it's so simple, and it takes me like half an hour to prepare all of that, and I can just go on with my day. So
So,
just keep it simple, and make sure that you're getting enough stuff that you really need.
so you talked more about vitamins and minerals rather than the macronutrients. So what are the main vitamins and minerals that you try to prioritize to get? Vitamin D. What were the other ones?
Well, the vegan killer is vitamin B12 usually, right? Because that's usually found in animal products, dairy and meat. So for that, I usually buy fortified plant milks also that have added vitamin D and B12 and some calcium in them. So that's one source.
Mhm.
Nutritional yeast is a good source of vitamin B12 also, because yeah, it has vitamin B12. And also, yeah, I do have like a multivitamin, and I have a vitamin D supplement also, but I don't necessarily take it. I take my multivitamin on like days where I'm too lazy to like take care of my diet, right? But a crappy diet with a multivitamin is just a crappy diet with a multivitamin. So you still should get your vitamins from your food because that's how it was intended to be, right?
Amen. Yes.
So yeah.
So you talk about basics. I mean, from what I've noticed a lot with people is they don't even know about what the basics are. So as far as macronutrients, like what are so macronutrients people are your carbs, your proteins, and your fats.
Yeah.
So you should have these things in your meals every time in order to maximize the amount of nutrients you can get. So for a vegan, what are your main sources of carbs? What are your main sources of protein? For the listeners, so that they can maybe add it to their grocery list.
Yeah, I actually think you should eat all the carbs. I eat a lot of carbs because I don't really feel good when I don't eat carbs. And I think,
Amen.
people kind of mistake carbs with, refined sugar. So that's the problem. They say, oh, you should cut out carbs. And what they really think is that you should cut out the refined sugar, but they think they shouldn't eat like potatoes or rice, right? So no, that's not the case. So I try to every day I eat, bananas. I eat frozen berries, like I said before. Recently, I've been doing like a lot of papaya. I eat like half a papaya a day with my oatmeal for breakfast, and that's super good. Very high in vitamin A. And I eat a lot of oatmeal. Also, every day I have oatmeal for breakfast, so that's also still just in carbs, a lot of iron in that. I do eat bread like once a day, like just toasted bread with some peanut butter and some more bananas. As for protein, tofu is probably my main source. I eat like a brick a day of. I go for firm tofu because it's denser, so it has more protein. You get more bang for your buck, and tofu is pretty cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many different kinds, so many different hardness levels that you can find something that you actually like. Apart from that, plant milks, like I said, fortified. I do mostly, soy milk, but there's other options. Unfortunately, the nut milks are pretty expensive. Like, let's say soy milk is 60 something pesos. I don't know how much that is in dollars, probably a dollar something. Then,
That's
almond milk is like 150 pesos per carton. So it's like 3 times the price. But you don't have to drink, almond milk. Just make sure that your milk is fortified with something extra in it. Yeah, and sometimes I will do, like texture vegetable protein, like the soya chunks, stuff like that, but not too often, because tofu is kind of my favorite thing to eat for protein. I don't really eat a lot of mock meats. I know that people think, I guess maybe that's the reason people think, being vegan is pretty expensive because they think you have to buy veggie burgers and veggie nuggets and, all that stuff like every week. But I don't really eat a lot of that stuff. I will have it like once every 2 or 3 weeks because, yeah, it's still, the fact that it's made of plants doesn't mean that it's super healthy. It's still
good.
like processed food, right? It's just processed plant food. That's all there is to it, right? Yeah. So I would say, uh, people say that it's hard to get vegan food, but vegan food is basically fruits and vegetables mostly, right? So I don't think it's that hard to go to a market or a palenque to get some fruits and vegetables, right?
To be
And if
honest,
people are,
go ahead. Sorry.
yeah.
Continue.
Yeah, people are so worried about protein because oh, you're gonna be deficient in protein. But when you ask them, okay, so how much protein do you need at least to keep it up, and they are not able to answer that question because they know what the minimum requirements are. So they don't even know how much protein they're getting. They just have this thing in their head that you have to eat animal products because otherwise you're just gonna be protein deficient.
Yeah,
And
for
they don't
those of you
even
guys who
know
don't know,
how it
Coach Jacob
works.
is about like 6'2", 200 plus pounds. So he's a big boy and he's vegan. So he
6'1".
doesn't 6'1", 200 plus pounds. So just because you're vegan doesn't mean you're gonna lose weight and get all shriveled or anything, because that's what a lot of people
Yeah,
think.
man. It's just the fact that if you eat adequate calories, that it doesn't matter. Like you're not gonna, get small. It's just a matter of eating your food, actually.
Eating real food. Okay. Um, I think that's it. That's as much as I need as far as this episode. Is there anything else you want to add in before we go? Oh, dude, you talk about berries a lot. I gotta hook you up with my frozen berry source because we get frozen berries for like 500 for a really big pack, or 200, 250, something like that. 500 for 2 kilos of frozen strawberries. And it's
Okay, that's nice. Oh,
yeah.
but I'm like the most expensive berries I get is the blueberries because they're like 400 something for half a kilo, and I
Yeah.
love it, but
But you hate the
damn.
price. Yeah, that's why we
Yeah,
don't
but I
buy
can.
blueberries anymore.
Yeah, but I also think about it like I don't spend money on junk food. I don't buy chips and stuff like that. So I guess yeah, like I
So
can
you
get
have
berries.
you have the money to invest in it. Go ahead, go for it.
Yeah, exactly. It
Yeah,
kind of evens
well,
itself out.
I'll send you the link to it later. Maybe you might want to check them out. Perhaps just another way you can get your berries in.
Yeah,
But
sure.
that is it for today. And just want to do any shout outs before we go?
I guess I want to, give a shout out to everyone I've trained before back in Manila because, yeah, I moved to the province last year. So, to any one of you guys listening, you know who you are. I miss you. I miss breaking your legs, and I hope I can do it again sometime soon when this mess is over.
Speaking of the people that you're reaching out to, they had some questions for you. Hold on, they had some questions. Is there anyone who was able to submit you? When was it, and what belt were you on?
Damn, it's not. I feel like there's like this misconception that I'm not
That you're
like possible. It's
untappable?
not possible to submit. You caught me 2 times in training.
Oh, don't tell anyone.
Dude, I'm not afraid of that. It's like I've been tapped out so many times in my life that it's really hard to forget. Like even here when I came here, like I went to Singapore and I got submitted by the same dude twice in ADCC. One time in my division and one time in the absolute. Then I think the other time I competed in Singapore, I also got submitted in the finals of the absolute. So it's not like stop making this stuff up. It's not like I'm some sort of
You're a BJJ god over here in the Philippines, man. You tower over
yeah,
everyone.
man. Yeah, but it's not like that. I'm not afraid to like admit that somebody submitted me, and like it's just weird that people are like, oh, like who
Uh,
tapped you out ever? Like, can I take notes?
okay, the next one was who is your BJJ hero in terms of footlocks?
Oh, damn. That's a good question because actually, when I started learning about footlocks, I watched a lot of Dean Lister's videos on it, and um, then also Eddie Wolverine. I guess he was like the kind of a OG guy
Cummings?
from,
Eddie Cummings, right?
yeah, 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 the OG guy from Danaher's crew. And then, of course, John Danaher, when he came to the Philippines, I went to the seminar. It was pretty amazing. Got a picture with him.
And
So
hurling.
there's proof. So, I don't, I follow a lot of guys. And even, if you just browse Instagram randomly and just search for Leglocks, there's so much good stuff here. But yeah, I guess the
Let's
OG
narrow it
guys like
down.
Dean
Top
Lister.
three. Top three.
Yeah, probably Dean Lister, um, Eddie Cummings.
And Donaher.
And the third one, probably John Danaher. Yeah, I mean John doesn't compete, but
He's still a legend of his own,
he's
man.
he's the mastermind.
Him and Dean Lister revolutionized the footlock game for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, we got another question. What's your game plan against Adesanya on Sunday?
That's actually very funny because the other, like, I think a month ago, um, I went with my girlfriend to the bank and we had to fill out this form, before you go in because COVID. And the guard was asking my girlfriend in Tagalog, like, "Oh, so where is he from?" And my girlfriend was like, oh, he's from Poland. And the guy was like, oh, he's not American. Oh, they all look the same. So I guess, there is some merit to that. Like, Asians looking the same, white people look all the same to Asians, I guess.
Hey, legit though, you do have similarities to Jan Blachowicz, so that's not a racist remark either. It's legit. You kind of do look like
yeah. I'm just saying it's funny, because.
Okay, is there anything else? Legit questions on here? No, everyone else is just giving you crap. All right, well, that's about it. Coach Jacob, again, thank you for your time, man. I really appreciate it. And I hope that everyone who's listening can get some golden nuggets of wisdom from this talk between us. And yeah, I'll just catch you our next training session. Hopefully that's going to be sometime soon, huh?
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me. And I can't wait to listen to this.
Yeah, me too, man. I'll definitely keep you posted as soon as I post it.
Yeah.
Sure. All right, Coach. Thanks again, man. I'll keep up with you.
Thank you.
Keep in touch.
Yeah, for sure.
Peace.
Thanks a lot.
Mahalo for listening to another episode of Friday Night Kunani Patrol. Feel free to follow my journey at Kunani Patrol on Instagram and Mikuni Munsayak on Facebook. Also, be sure to click that like button, comment at least one thing that you learned from this episode, and share this episode with at least one person. Lastly, if you wish to support my journey, click on the Ko-Fi link in the podcast description. All donations will go towards creating more content to help you all live your best lives. I am Mikuni Munsayak, signing out. Aloha.
Friday night Kunani Patrol.